Hello, my friends, and welcome back. As you probably know, there are some sanctions imposed on Russia, and it seems like some countries who are beating the drums, boom, 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 to have these sanctions imposed, had everybody else impose the sanctions that they were trying to, you know, uh, make to impose sanctions, but them, which is the United States. The United States still buys Russian products against its sanctions, it seems like. And so let's see what's going on over here. It seems like the law or the sanctions are not applied to everyone equally. This article comes from the Business Insider by Phil Rosen. No Rosenberg, Rosenthal, Rosenstein, no, Rosen, that's it. From June 13th, 2022. This is the title. The US wants companies to buy Russian fertilizer as agricultural commodities markets spiral and a global food crisis looms. Oh, I thought that sanctions are sanctions. You're supposed to be hurt a little bit if you uh, place sanctions on someone. Not only yeah. The US has been quietly pushing companies to ramp up Russian fertilizer trade as a global food crisis looms, Bloomberg reports. This year, Russian fertilizer exports have fallen 24% per the report. Meanwhile, Ukraine has over 25 million tons of grain, sunflower oil, and other good stock in the country. The US wants companies to ramp up purchases of Russian fertilizer as global food costs rise and shortages loom, according to a Monday Bloomberg report. Sources told Bloomberg that the government is quietly pushing companies to buy and carry more Russian fertilizer. How come? Sanction fears have created supply shortages and have fueled a global food crisis, and the US is moving to alleviate pressure with the United Nations by boosting deliveries of fertilizer, grain, and other supplies from Russia. What do you mean? Are there sanctions or they're not sanctions? If they are, how can you boost something that you sanction? Or maybe sanctions for thee, but not sanctions for we. All right. This year, Russian fertilizer exports have dropped 24%. Russia and Ukraine together account for a quarter of global grains trade. The challenges the U.S. faces is that it must balance putting more pressure on Moscow. Like what? You have no more aces. You're done. Capisci? Done. The challenges, yes, the challenges you can't do anything about it. The US and EU have included fertilizer exemptions in their sanctions on Russia. Did you hear that? So yeah, sanctions are sanctions, but we exempt those kinds of products. So wait a second. If you want to make a moral stand or stance against someone, you just pick and choose? I mean, if someone is a criminal, you just what? Here he's a criminal, here he's not a criminal. In the oil industry, he's a criminal. In the fertilizer, he's not. In the grain, he's not. Is this because the United States just wanted to kick Russia out of Europe energy supply? Is that why? So they can come in and take over? I think so. Otherwise, what would be? Otherwise, they would cover the fertilizer too in Europe, but it seems like the United States doesn't have enough. Or grain. So the US and EU have included fertilizer exemptions in their sanctions on Russia, per the report, which allows trade to continue flowing for the key commodity. Okay. According to Russia's grain union, wheat exports doubled in May. At the same time, Bloomberg reports that over 25 million tons of grain, sunflower oil, and other goods are stuck in Ukraine due to sanctions to the security concerns. While Western officials have called out the Kremlin for using food as a weapon in preventing Ukraine from exporting, Russia has said it hasn't attacked any ports, instead pointing to shipping disruptions resulting from sanctions. And besides, what do you mean? You use certain things and I'm not supposed to fight back? You want me to fight with my arm behind my back or something? Yeah, basically that's what they wanted Russia to do. I mean, It's unbelievable. These guys are sanctioning Russia on their own desire, their own decision. We're going to sanction you, but we're going to sanction here. We're not going to sanction here. And then they say, hey, you can't do anything as a retaliatory move here, even though I'm not talking about the grain thing. But you can do that. No. Outrageous. Because that's the way these countries, especially the United States, was used to operate globally. Why? Because they dealt with weaker countries, smaller countries, so they could push them around. But unfortunately, it's the bigger fish that have to deal with through Ukraine. So when they had to put sanctions on Iraq, no problem. When they had to put sanctions, invade Iraq, no problem. The same with Afghanistan, the same with Libya, the same with, even with Yugoslavia, same thing. They could push around things. But with Russia, try with China. I mean, they think all this fact that Russia is not losing economically, it's not losing militarily, makes me think that the Russians planned this smartly for some time. Because it seems like they were ready at every attack that was thrown at them. They were able not only to block it or to dodge it, but to counter. So, and counter it proportionately. They didn't. I don't think they jumped the gun. I don't think they did anything in retaliatory move as a retaliatory move to be a bigger punch, a stronger punch than the one that was thrown at them. It seems like, for instance, let's say the Americans or other countries, they said, okay, we're gonna have some of your embassy personnel shipped back to Russia. Let's say 50. Russia did not send back 150 from that country. No, sent 50. So it was kind of proportionate. And it was never, I don't want to say never because I don't know everything, but whenever I read, it was proportionate. Now, these guys are allowing fertilizer to still be exported, imported. Now, if you are about to kneel Russia, you have to go all the way. But as I said before, that hurts you more than it hurts Russia. As I said before, Russians, I think they have a higher tolerance to pain and scarcity than the Western countries. This is when you don't have stuff. It's easier not to have stuff, but when you have stuff, it's harder to live without being taken a little bit from what you got. So probably that's why, and besides, in the democratic systems, so-called democratic, I want to call them democratic political systems, they are based on personality contest among the politicians. So they have to look good. If they don't look good, they get voted out, regardless if that good is just charisma or you did something. So they can't really afford having bad news spread about their inabilities. But the problem is the Western mass media cooperates and covers for politicians. So it's whoever makes does the bidding, they are having a good press. Who have something outside of the script, they are immediately called this and that, or their actions are interpreted as being this and that. That's just watch the news and you're going to find out. Well, war machine, Russia's war machine is not destroyed because these guys are still making business with Russia. What do you want? It's a situational outrage. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.